Today's video, we're going to step under the falls and take a look at Spruce Flats Falls, a popular waterfall and hike in the Smoky Mountains. Welcome to Bear Facts, where we explore the Smoky Mountains one bear fact at a time. The views of the Smoky Mountains are just one of the main reasons people flock to the Smokies. But inside the stunning backdrops of rolling blue and green mountains, there are silent trees swaying among steep cliffs, clear waterways trickling between crevices and rock walls, jaw-dropping vistas, and more waterfalls than you can count. The Smokies are well known for their tranquil waterfalls. With well over 100 waterfalls to be found in the mountains, each has its own unique features and beauty. Some are just feet from the road, and others might take a little work to get to. In this series, we'll explore some of the many different waterfalls you can find in the Smoky Mountains and give helpful tips and advice about each one of these amazing attractions. Today, we'll look at Spruce Flats Falls just outside of Townsend, Tennessee, and about 22 miles from Pigeon Forge. When looking for these falls, you're better off searching for the Tremond Education Center. Once you've found the center, the falls are just a short walk from them. Here, you can find parking for both the falls and the education center. And though there are no fees for visiting either falls or the center, you will need to purchase a parking permit to leave your car, as they are part of the Smoky Mountain National Park. Keep in mind that whenever you're parking your vehicle anywhere in the park, you need to purchase a parking pass. Since the Tremond Center is used for specific educational purposes, your parking options might be limited, especially if they're doing an event where parking is reserved for people participating in one of their programs. But there are areas that you can find just outside the store adjacent to the center that hikers can use to get to the falls. When you turn into the Tremond Center, you'll find two main buildings. To the right is a small park ranger with a store and a bathroom. The building was closed when we went, but you could still access the bathroom and water fountain inside. Though there is only one stall, the toilet actually flushes and you have running water. A pretty big perk for the mountains. The other building is further up the road and is used by the educational facility for programs that teach people about the area and offer group-centered activities to schools and other youth organizations. The trailhead is up past the park ranger shop. When you see the other larger educational building up the hill, you'll also see a sign that lets you know where the trail starts. The actual trail starts before you actually reach that facility. An app that we like to use in the Smoky Mountains is called All Trails. I don't get paid to talk about them, but they are great for hikers. The app has a free version, but if you pay the yearly subscription, it offers more perks. These perks include full access to offline maps you can download into your phone, active GPS locators, information about the trails that include trail conditions from other hikers, elevation gains, and other things that might help make your hike more comfortable or safe. I stress to anyone who is hiking in the Smoky Mountains that you should always have an offline map uploaded into your smartphone or device. Cell phone reception is not reliable, and having a device that offers live GPS feed might be helpful when hiking in the mountain. Apps such as All Trails will also rate different trails based on difficulty. Spruce Flats Falls is rated moderate. What does that mean to you? Well, a moderate trail will have some elevation gain. These trails might be somewhat difficult to navigate or have something about it that makes it more of a challenge, but they aren't considered too difficult for the average hiker. The Spruce Flats Falls Trail is less than 2 miles long and has an elevation gain of 400 feet. If you're not used to walking elevated trails, 400 feet is more difficult than you would think in less than a 2-mile span, especially if you have knee or back issues. I would highly suggest you wear good shoes and consider bringing hiking sticks. The day this footage was filmed, we had gotten a really decent rainstorm the night before. The trail was very muddy and slippery in different areas. My walking stick saved my butt more than a few times. And this trail can get extremely slippery. With that 400-foot elevation gain, the rocks and footing, it can get quite challenging to keep your footing. I wore my regular hiking boots and was grateful I had. If the trail was dry, then we wouldn't have had any trouble wearing decent sneakers or even hiking sandals. But I would encourage all visitors to wear stable footing on this trail. The first part of the trail is fairly even-footed. Though you will have a few ruts and uneven spots, it's really easy walking. As you head up and over the first bend, you will notice tents set up for the educational program. On the day we hiked this trail, it was quiet. We encountered very few other hikers, but this isn't the norm. The trail can get very busy with people hiking the trail to get to the waterfalls. It's a pretty popular trail in the summer. Many people like to bring their swimwear and towels so they can hop in the waterfalls and cool down. If you want to try to avoid other hikers and try to see them without many people, there are a few things to try. One is to go when it's raining. Believe it or not, most people don't like to hike in the rain. How strange is that? But if the weather forecast is predicting a light shower and you don't mind getting wet, this will be one of the best times to attempt this trail. Just remember that if it's raining heavily, there can be some serious water running off the mountain and things can get a little dicey. Another option to try and avoid other hikers is to try heading out to the trail very early in the morning, or another option is to head out later in the day. Since this is a short trail and it normally doesn't take more than an hour to complete, heading out in the evening is a good possibility for enjoying a less busy trail. If you get there closer to 4 or 5 p.m. in the summer, you will have less competition for parking. And also, because it's daylight longer, you should have more than enough time to complete the trail before it gets dark. You might even have the falls to yourself. If you do decide to attempt this, make sure you have a light source with you, just in case you spend more time at the falls than intended. As we talked about already, this is considered a moderate trail. The elevation is definitely part of this rating. For most trails that see 300 to 400 foot elevation gain in less than 2 miles, you're going to see the rating gain difficulty. But what makes this more challenging hike is the terrain. There are some areas where rocks and ground can get a little tricky, mostly if it's raining or has been raining. The trail is well used and easy to navigate. There are only 2 areas where you might have a little confusion about direction, but the park has you covered. They have signs and construction cones to keep you on the right trail. The path itself can get a little rocky and hard to navigate, but if you take your time and are wearing stable shoes, it's a pretty easy and fun hike. There are a few places where there's a drop off and a misstep can end you up with being at the bottom of a steep drop, but you're in the mountains and this is kind of expected of most trails. Edges, ledges, and steep drops are what make most hikes fun in the Smoky Mountains. The trail can get a little buggy, but not too bad, and you will be in the shade the entire time. The biggest issue during the summer is humidity. It can get pretty icky. The falls themselves are worth the hike. We really enjoyed these falls, and since we had seen a heavy level of precipitation the night before, there was a much heavier flow. Below the falls is a shallow pool that you can swim or walk around in. There are big rocks for those who enjoy rock hopping. The refreshing splash of water can be amazing when it's hot or humid. I would say it's a very rewarding hike and worth the time to go. We took our time and explored the waterfalls, hopping over rocks and checking out the area. Just remember that when you're exploring the mountains, keep an eye out on footing. Not only can a slip ruin the rest of your summer, but there are other critters that make them home. Copperheads and rattlesnakes are very common in the Smoky Mountains. They are timid creatures, but they tend to curl up under fallen tree trunks and rocks that you might walk over without even realizing it. Just keep an eye out where you put your hand and your foot when you're walking. Okay, so here's our takeaway for this hike. It is a short trail, making this an ideal day hike for beginners or people who just have a short amount of time to dedicate to a hike. Keep in mind that there is a high elevation gain to consider in a short amount of time. So if you're not used to hiking elevated trails, you might find it a little bit more difficult than you anticipated. Just take your time and don't feel like you need to rush, and you'll enjoy it more. The ground is very rocky in places and might not be suitable for individuals with knee and back issues. Hiking shoes and sticks will be helpful, but the trail is easy enough to navigate without them. I always suggest bringing a bottle of water when hiking in the Smoky Mountains. Though it is a short hike, you should still stay hydrated. Tennessee can get very hot and humid in the summer. Parking can be an issue if there's an event happening at the educational center and if the trail is busy. Keep in mind that you will need a parking pass if you plan on being there more than 15 minutes. I left a link in the description to the National Park website to help you learn more about this. Finally, this is a perfect hike for those who are looking for a short hike and also want to see a great waterfall in the Smoky Mountains. Also, it's a good hike for those of you who are like me and just like to check one more waterfall off their list. We really enjoyed it when we went and thought it was worth our time. If you've been to these waterfalls, please let us know about your experience in the comment area. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Thank you again for watching us at Fairfax of the Smoky Mountains.